What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital. I am also the Director of Research at Leduc Trading, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is December 14th, 2020. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the indices, the volatility spike. We're going to go under the hood and check out the sectors and style factors, and we will find some interesting things under there. We're going to take a look at the trades I took, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump right in. Today was, a pretty crazy day, bit of a reversal day. Our ending box scores, we had the S&P 500 down 0.45%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ up 0.73%. We had the IWM small caps plus 0.12%. And we had the Dow Jones down 0.61%. So we're going to start off with the S&P 500. And as you can see here, the S&P 500, we had a very bullish sequence, coming out of the election. And, we were trending higher above the monthly value area. Then we got into December. And you can see once we hit this new value area, we've pretty much been struggling to gain much traction above it. So what I mean is you can see the last several days have been red candles, meaning the market opened up higher than it closed. So there is some selling pressure in the market right now. And you can see that on Friday, we opened up above the monthly value area, we dipped inside of it, and we actually traded below the 20-day simple moving average. And the 20-day simple moving average is a trigger for a lot of automated trend following strategies. So that is pretty significant if we start breaking below that. Now today, we had some very bullish action to start off the day. Where, we had a slight gap up higher. Then we ran a little bit in the first, hour or so of the session. And before we knew it, we ended the day within the monthly value area. And we are resting on top of the 20-day simple moving average. And you can see this little mini candle here. This is the start of tonight's futures trading. Let's actually jump into the hourly chart. So this is all looking not so bullish anymore. And so what I mean by that is you can see on the hourly chart, this is the weekly value area. You can see we are trading below the weekly value area low. So this means that on a short-term time frame, we have entered a downward trend. So that is definitely something to be cognizant of. The sentiment right now in the market is very hot, and pretty much everyone is long. So we know that the pain trade is to the downside. And so for instance, we're below the 5-day exponential moving average. This is, going back to the daily chart. And now if you take a look, we're really just hovering on that 20-day simple moving average. So if we slip below that, then suddenly it's okay, we have the point of control at, 35.55, which is a ways down. And I'm pretty sure everyone is still in this very bullish mindset. Nobody thinks the market can go down, but that's when you do have some risk, especially when there's some profit taking into year end. So you definitely have to be open to, multiple possibilities. While it definitely seems like the outlook is pretty bullish moving forward given the vaccine, you don't want to get caught wrong-footed just with way too many long positions on, no hedges, that sort of thing. What's pretty interesting, that today we had some pretty high volume. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, right now, we are trading just inside that monthly value area. Now things are a bit more neutral based on my system. So definitely, a bit of a change of character there. Now if we look at the Qs, technology was an outperformer today. That could have something to do with the headlines about, New York shutting down and, potential reshuttering, stuff like that. But you can see even the Qs Still closed the green candle. The Qs are actually above the monthly value area, but they closed well off their highs. But yeah, it does seem like the Qs are a bit of a safe haven. I actually got stopped out on part of a Qs hedge today. So yeah, this one is showing relative strength. And then if we take a look, IWM, this one has been leading the small caps, really since the election and since the vaccine news. And you can see today, this is the first day where things look a little precarious for the small caps. Now, as you can see, we pretty much closed right on that 5-day exponential moving average. The last time we hit the 5-day EMA, we bounced right off of it and didn't close on it. This is a bit different here. But still well above the monthly value area, but I will be watching this one tomorrow. It's funny how fast things can change in the markets. In the Dow Jones, the one that has been lagging and really just doing nothing for the better part of a month now. You can see the Dow Jones is now closing within the monthly value area, and it is trading right on top of its 20-day simple moving average. So we're going from, a very bullish picture that we had the past couple weeks. Now we have to shift our mindsets just a little bit because things are going from a bullish trend to much more of a neutral trend. So just be cognizant, make sure you are making those adjustments in your portfolio. If you're a short-term trader. If you're not, just buy the dip. Let's see. Let's take a look. We're going to go more in detail on the sectors and style factors. And this is where a lot of the story is. So you can see at the top of our list in terms of momentum, it's really all the ARK innovation funds. And you can see those did just fine today. We have Next Gen Internet plus 0.45%, ARK Innovation plus 0.31%, and ARK Genomics, took a bit of a break. These funds were all up, pretty significantly throughout the day. Let's actually see what they looked like. So I'll pull up just this one that I know. I typically buy this one on almost every single market correction. Yeah, so this one was as high as, 127 and closed on the lows. So that's a bit of a different look. ARK Genomics has been on an absolute tear. Yeah, that one had a pretty big intraday fall. So pretty interesting price action. And then what else do we have? The really noteworthy things, in my opinion, are the energy, which has been red hot for the past month or so, down 3.5% today, absolutely getting destroyed. And then you can see what else got destroyed today. The transports were also really bad. Transports down 2.31%. So it looks as though some sort of second wave shutdown is being priced in, even though we have energy on the lows and transports. So more to come on that, but that is definitely a big character shift from what we've seen over the past month. And the laggards, continue to be laggards. You can see gold miners down 2.25%, utilities down 0.51%, and real estate down 0.47%. For our style factors, we have the high beta style factor ETF, which has been crushing it, down 2.02%, our worst performing style factor. And you can see the best performers were momentum and growth. So a little bit of a shift back to, perhaps those COVID winners, which has me thinking, what's going on here? Is this just one counter trend day, or is it the start of something a little bit different? So you got to keep your head on the swivel, especially when things are changing. Now for some trades and things I am watching. So in terms of new trades today, Amazon, I went with a call spread, and I'll show you right here. So Amazon is a stock that has been consolidating sideways for the better part of 4 months, and it is arguably the best company in the world. One thing I noticed today was there were a bunch of stocks showing strength in the morning, and I noticed a bunch of buying activity in Amazon, that happened a little bit later in the session. Let's pull up the hourly chart, and you should be able to see, a big spike in volume. Yeah, so really on this candle right here, you can see this was, yeah, it looks like after the market opened, this one really started to push throughout the day. But you can see, it did not close on the highs and had a bit of a pullback into the weekly value area. But for this one, I went with the December 24th 3200 3210 call spread. So that's about 2 weeks out. And really it's just a play on, some relative strength in some of those mega cap tech names. And really people, just beginning to position in Amazon, once again, because it has gotten, not all that much love throughout the past couple of months. And then for another trade, I still have on one half of my plug butterfly. And my plug butterfly took off, about half of it last week, for about a 50% gain. Let the other half ride, and you can see here, my butterfly is targeting that 27.5 level. For this week, we're still looking pretty good for that butterfly. Really just hoping that plug consolidates sideways. One trade that I did stop out of was my plug bullish March calls. I stopped out for about a 20% loss. March is a long time, so plug could certainly, go completely bullish by March, and those calls could make a lot of money. But really, I was just seeing, the breakdown in the markets today, and I decided, I would like to take off some of my positions, and I would like to take off one that is performing the worst. So plug, down about 20% on these call options. I see it's dipping back into the monthly value area. I figured let me stop myself out of those. But my butterfly is still in play for the rest of the week. Other than that, not too much action on my part. I was watching GoodRx, which is one of the longs I added last week. And GoodRx had, some really nice price action again. So I added GoodRx. I believe I threw it on, like literally on this candle right here. I timestamped it, talked about it in my video. And I was expecting it to hit my 45 target, if I was lucky, maybe in like a month or so. I bought the April calls in GoodRx. And you can see we hit that target in about 2 days. So, good problem to have, can't complain. And these calls do expire in April. So this is one where, GoodRx is showing relative strength, although it is hitting resistance up here. But this is one where the trades that are doing well, those are the ones that I want to let ride. I might end up tightening up my stop a little bit, just to make sure I'm locking in a profit. Like perhaps moving it somewhere down here just to protect my gains. But for now, I'm letting GoodRx ride. And then another one I'm looking at, Sama, was such a wild day today. This one, I still am holding on to my January 10 strike calls that I bought like back here. I timestamped those on Twitter. That was like one of my last live entries on Twitter. But these calls went from like $1.10 to, when they're up here, they're probably at around like $4.50. So that's like a triple, quadruple. But this thing in the beginning of the day had the biggest shakeout. It was down like over 7% at one point down here. And buyers came in, auctioned it back up to the highs all the way up here. But then sellers ended up pushing it down. So it still closed negative on the day. Well, with Sama, it's going to complete its merger. Sama is merging with Clever Leaves. And that should be happening into the end of the week. December 17th, December 18th, somewhere along that time frame. The one thing that I am cognizant of, though, is so when these SPACs really first started getting their mergers done, a lot of them were having insane pops, like up like 20%, 30%, doubling, tripling, really going crazy. Now I think there's more people that have caught on to the SPAC game. So I think they're buying these SPACs, in anticipation of that pop. So one thing I want to be careful of this week is, what happens if the merger goes through and all these people were, just waiting to sell that news. So I definitely want to be careful with this one, and just make sure, I have significant gains in Sama. I just want to be careful. I might end up taking a target in this name, at some point during the week, but still haven't decided. But this is another one where the trade is doing really well. This one is about tripled or quadrupled, so I want to give this one more room. Whereas something like Plug that wasn't working, a couple days in, that one I just want to cut out, right away. And I could always re-enter it later. But those are, let's see if there's any more. I believe that's about it for what I'm watching. Yeah, that's about it. I might actually do some screening tonight, for some good short opportunities or hedges, just in case the price action gets a little bit uglier. But that is about it. Now let's take a look at the options order flow for today and see if there's anything interesting in there. Let's check it out. And what's funny is so these are all things I'm a context player in the markets. I follow price and trend, at the highest priority, but I do pay attention to things like call volume and put flow and all that stuff. And we've just had ridiculous amounts of call flow, really for the past month, like nothing I've ever seen before on Cheddarflow. And you can see today we had a bit of a reversal in that trend. 28% calls, 72% puts. So this might be where everybody starts going, hey, the market's taking a little dip. I want to make sure my portfolio is good into year end, because that's pretty much where I'm at too. Nobody wants to stumble into the finish line. Oh wait, but actually maybe they didn't change their ways. This is the $1 million and above. What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No way, this can't be right. This is showing, when I zoomed out to every order, showing 99% call flow, 1% put flow. I don't know what's going on with that. That must not be right, but anyway, let's go back to the $1 million and above, because that would just be ridiculous. If it's 99% calls still, I would be like, oh my gosh, the pain trade is lower. We're going lower. Let's see. But I'm not going to make any sort of crazy claim like that. I just want to stay even keel and just be comfortable with either outcome. Let's see, no, wait, what's going on here? I'm going to take this filter off. Okay, so with the $1 million and above orders, we did have, a decent amount of flow today. You can see mRNA, the vaccine company Moderna saw some call flow. This one, I don't really understand it. It's had a really nice run. I don't think these companies are really making all that much money off the vaccine. But given all this call buying, there must be something I'm missing here. But I don't think I'll be, jumping into vaccine plays at this point. AMD, had a big call buyer, $1.3 million. AMD, this was actually a trade Samantha put on in her room. I actually took some profits on my AMD today, to be honest. Yeah, that was another one I completely forgot about. So AMD, you can see this one looks pretty good. It's having a nice bullish setup. This is one I entered AMD somewhere around here, and that's another one I talked about in one of my videos. And AMD did get a price target raise from Goldman Sachs after hours. I believe their target's $115. So this one might get some excitement tomorrow. We'll have to see. Yeah, AMD call flow. We got some Boeing call flow. Tesla for September of 2021. A 1,050 strike call. Oh my gosh, these people are savages. More of the 1,050 strike. And then we got some 560 strikes. So yeah, Tesla, they're still going all in on Tesla. Yeah, and it did have a nice candle today. It's pretty interesting. And then let's see, we have an Amazon put buyer for December 18th. Who knows what they know? They bought that at 11:31. And if we look, let's see the 15-minute charts. They bought it at 11:31. pretty good entry on their part. They pretty much like top ticked it right here. They got it right in the middle of this range. You can see we closed well below that. So that is a good trade on their end. Now, you know, what I'm thinking is the puts they bought are for this Friday. So when are they going to close out those puts? Because those puts are literally going to be decaying, you know, very, very quickly. So that's really like when they exit. That's pretty big. Netflix, we have a call buyer. Let's see what Netflix did. That about wraps it up. Let's see, Netflix. Let's go out to the daily chart. Yeah, this one looks great. And this supports the theme of like, is this a move back to the COVID stocks? Like, I don't know if that makes all that much sense, just because, you know, if we have a shutdown in New York, which is temporary, but then the vaccine is forever, like, you know, what does that mean? There was a headline about some, like, you know, different strain of COVID, so who really knows? That's why the price action, you know, that's what I go by, because somebody usually knows something. So yeah, Netflix, you know, pretty bullish, butting up against that upper Bollinger Band. So going into tomorrow, you know, I'm just going to try to come in with a level head. You know, my risk is in check, but I might end up adding some shorts depending on how things go. You know, I just want to wait and watch and be patient and really be open to anything. That about does it for this market recap video. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will speak with you all again tomorrow.